and welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to the country after a 4-day visit to the U.S. He returned before dawn on Thursday and was received on arrival by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. While in the U.S., President Buhari met with his American counterpart Barack Obama on security and economic issues. The two leaders discussed Buhari's economic plans and how the possibility of helping Nigeria retrieve about $150 billion alleged to have been stolen by public office holders in the last 10 years. The president also rejected overtures from the Americans on gay rights by telling U.S. lawmakers that sodomy is prohibited in Nigeria and as such gay marriage cannot be legalized. Before returning, Buhari met a cross-section of Nigerians living in the U.S. and also played host to his old schoolmates at the War College. Oil thieves, including former ministers and some prominent individuals, have been put on notice. The law is coming after them. Buhari did not give names but spoke on how they plundered Nigeria's economy by stealing 1 million barrels of crude oil daily, selling the stuff overseas and lodging the profits in their personal accounts. Buhari spoke at the Nigerian embassy in Washington, D.C., United States, at the parliament members of Nigeria's and diaspora organizations as part of his 4-day visit to the U.S. The statement reported Buhari as vowing to trace the accounts of individuals who stashed away ill-gotten oil money, freeze such accounts, recover the loot, and prosecute the culprits. There appears to be a crack in the camp of loyalty group headed by Femi Gbajabiamila as two members of the caucus have disowned the letter written to the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, John Oyegun, insisting on party supremacy in the selection of principal officers of the House of Representatives. Both members also called on the party to accept the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara's concession of the two major principal positions to the loyalist group in the interest of peace and stability. Mokhtar Dantuze and Tijani Abdikadir Jobe, in a statement issued on Wednesday, said the July 18, 2015 letter to Yegon, signed by Nasir Sani Dango Zora, did not reflect the wishes of the group, as it did not emanate from any formal or collective meeting of the loyalist group. The National Emergency Management Agency on Thursday confirmed that 29 persons were killed in Wednesday's attack at the two motor parks in Gombe. The information officer of the agency in Gombe State, Omar Magdigaya, says the explosion at Dadinkowa Motor Park occurred at 7:15 p.m. on Wednesday, and that of Duku Motor Park happened shortly after 8:30 p.m. The Nigerian Army says the change in the operational name of the war against insurgency from Operation Zaman Lafiya to Lafiya Dole is a strategy for total warfare against the terrorists, their sympathizers and sponsors. Army spokesperson Colonel Sani Usman revealed that the military is more committed and determined to ending the Boko Haram menace now that the command and control center is now fully operational in Maiduguri. He also wants members of the public to continue to provide useful information to the military on the insurgents and their activities. We'll take a break now. I'll be back on my reports. Please stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to your husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
But some people will stand for Yoruba land. We'll be strong man. We don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it's just about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
This is still CoreTV News in the hour. For more on the news and other programs, please visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can follow us on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. Also visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/CoreTV, never space, then news. The All Progressives Congress in Akwa Ibom State on Wednesday announced the suspension of 41 members of the party over what it described as misconduct and party activities. The newly elected Publicity Secretary of the party, Ita Awak, who announced the suspension of the party members, said the offences included anti-party activities, disobedience in carrying out lawful directives of the party, as well as creating parallel party organ. According to him, the conduct of the affected members contravened Section 21 of the party's constitution as amended, saying the decision was taken during a meeting of a state executive committee held at the party's secretariat on July 20. Governors of the 36 states in the country have converged in Abuja under the auspices of the Nigeria Governors Forum ahead of today's National Economic Council meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. However, before the meeting of the NGF, which got underway, the governors elected on the platform of the ruling All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party held separate meetings at various locations in the city to strategize on how to engage each other on the critical issues likely to come up during the forum's meeting. The PDP governors have expressed concern over the rising spate of Boko Haram attacks in the northeastern part of the country. The governors of the opposition parties said the situation had become worrisome, adding that despite the security measures by the armed forces, the terrorist seems to be intensifying its attacks and causing more deaths, injuries and damage to properties. Projects for Human Development, a civil society organization, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari not to listen to the U.S. government on issues of gay rights so as to protect the laws and values of Nigeria. Embattled former National Security Advisor Sambo Dazuki has denied arresting President Muhammadu Buhari shortly after he was overthrown as a military head of state in August 1985. He also said he had supported Buhari's presidential aspiration in 2003, 2007 and 2011. He admitted being one of those who proposed in 2011 for the former national chairman of the defunct Action Congress of Nigeria, Bisi Akande, to make Buhari a joint candidate of the ACN and the defunct Congress of People's Congress. He further spoke against the backdrop of insinuations that his arrest might have to do with a retaliation of a similar maltreatment against Buhari in 1985. The ex-NSA also said against the backdrop that he attempted to truncate the election of President Muhammadu Buhari in March and inauguration on May 29. The Department of State Services, DSS, has released the former Chief Security Officer to former President Goodluck Jonathan, Gordon Oboa, from detention. Oboa was released by the 12 hours after he was paraded before newsmen at the DSS headquarters to quash rumors about his death in custody. The detained security personnel who seized the opportunity of the unscheduled news conference to speak on the state of health was released after 5 days in detention. Oboa, who himself is a DSS operative, was said to have been grilled as part of investigations into the defense spending under the Jonathan administration. The National Union of Road Transport Workers have expressed confidence in the ability of President Muhammadu Buhari to wage a successful war against corruption in the country. The transporters say a successful crusade would help save the country from economic collapse. Yassin Najim expressed his union's conviction during a courtesy call on Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the presidential villa in Abuja.
Taking cognizance of your zero tolerance against corruption, especially during your tenure as the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice of Lagos State, we are opinion is that you and His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari will continue to involve creative way towards stamping out corruption and insurgency so as to advance the economic prosperity and peaceful coexistence among the Nigerian populace. Registered our total support to your administration in view of the purposefully and transparent leadership you are providing to the Nigerian nation, while urging you to keep it up. May I once again re-emphasize that despite the enormity of the task before you and President Muhammadu Buhari, we have implicit confidence in your ability to meet the challenges ahead.
So we are the ones who are responsible for ensuring that this country is well run. We are the ones. President Buhari has said, and I'm sure that when you do get an opportunity to meet him, he will restate this to you. He has said that what this government wants to do is to represent a transparent and open government, a government that believes in the rule of law, a government that will fight corruption, a government that believes that the people of this country, especially the common man, must enjoy the fruits of the produce of this country. Whatever it is that this country has, it must be available in terms of opportunity, in terms of provision for every Nigerian, especially those who have no voice. That is what this government stands for. And we'll keep repeating it, and we'll also demonstrate it by action.
The Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal sitting in Owerri, the Imo State capital, has dismissed the petition filed by the governorship candidates of the People's Democratic Party in the April governorship election in the state, Emeka Ihedioha, for time lapse. Though the petitioner's counsel, Mike Ahambe, expressed shock over the ruling even as he heads to appeal according to the client's directive. Dismissing the petition, Chairman of the Tribunal, Justice David One, agreed with the contention of the lead counsel to Governor Rochas Okorocha, Adeniyi Akintola, that the petitioner abandoned the petition, having failed to do all he was expected to do after filing, including the payment of the approved fee within the time frame. Addressing journalists at the end of the verdict, Akintola said the petition was clear and was dismissed for running short of the provisions of the Electoral Act, arguing that the petition at the tribunal had come to an end, although he said the petitioner has the right to go for appeal.
Well, it was a moot point, a very novel one, which nobody has ever addressed in the annals of Nigerian jurisprudence. It happened that we discovered that the pre-hearing notice filed by the petitioner was submitted on the 23rd of June. But he later went and paid for the filing on the 3rd of July, which was clearly outside the 7 days prescribed by paragraph 18 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act. So we latch on that. And the question now was whether what was paid for. There were two questions really that we posed for determination. Whether mere submission of the letter for pre-hearing notice without payment was valid, and whether the payment made is also payment made on the 3rd of July will validate the pre-hearing notice that was submitted.
The court decided to rule on the pre-hearing notice application on the ground that application for pre-hearing notice was a jurisdictional matter. That was a surprise to me because the three Supreme Court authorities I gave him stated clearly that it was not jurisdictional. For the Court of Appeal to have been used to override a Supreme Court decision as recent as 2013 and 2014.
Victory in court is Imo's victory. This is again a validation of Imo's mandate to Owele Rochas Okorocha-led government. The election was held April 11th, and the rerun was on the 25th of April. And those are reassuring victory for us, and they decided to go to court. And today the court has spoken, and that shows that the victory is Imo's victory.
Reactions have continued to show the dissolution of local government chairman in Plateau State. The chairman of the councils would obtain a court order restraining the governor and his representatives from sacking them are crying foul, fighting to ensure that they gain their offices. Our Plateau State correspondent has more in this report presented from our studios.
Speaking on behalf of the council chairman at the Plateau Police Command, the secretary of Argon and the chairman of Mangu LGA, Caleb Mutfawang, stated that the parties to the suits that initiated the restraining court order included the State Attorney General of the Federation, the State House of Assembly, and he argued that the position of the state government that it has not appointed a State Attorney General before the dissolution of the LGA voided the action of the state government.
It's the Attorney General of the Federation, the Attorney General of Plateau State, and the Plateau State House of Assembly. Now let me say this, that the office of the Attorney General, whether at the state or at the national level, is a constitutional office. It never ceases to exist. And so, even if you are going to sue the governor or the president, it usually would be served through the Attorney General.
Mutfawang said the matter in question restrained Governor Lalong from dissolving the LGAs in the state. This, according to him, informed their visit to the police commissioner. He says the action of the governor has prevented them from performing their constitutional duties.
Now, the court order is very specific, restraining the government, all its agents, privies, and anybody connected with government from doing anything that will amount to tampering with the tenure of elected local government councils before the expiry of their tenure. And that also means that the House of Assembly cannot consider the list of caretaker committees because that will be in contempt of the court order.
He added that the council chairmen are hopeful that when the courts return from vacation, it will advocate in their favor.
Now let me make this very clear, that this issue is not about the council chairman. It's about the rule of law. It's about good governance. It's about respecting the mandate and wishes of the people of Plateau State. It's not about the council chairman. And therefore, what will happen if this impunity continues is left for the people to decide. But I also believe that when the court returns from its vacation, they will also take appropriate measures to ensure that the sanctity of the court is not trampled upon.
Hundreds of aggrieved civil servants in Kaduna State government are protesting against what they say is an attempt to brand them as ghost workers. The workers from various ministries, departments and agencies took their protest to the Secretariat of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Kaduna State. They accused the government officials involved in the ongoing verification exercise of refusing to give them their salary checks after being verified. Amina Nebi has details.
These government workers stormed the NUJ Secretariat as early as possible in protest. Their mission is to draw attention to what they see as an act of injustice. They claim to have been employed for years but have not been able to withdraw their salaries after verification.
Captured, some of us, and some have not yet been captured. Now the principal problem that is taking us here is to get our check. 2 months ago, I check, come today, come tomorrow, every day from Zaria, some from Kafanchan. Now we got tired. It's like they are even playing with over our intelligence. You meet this banker, will say, go to your ministry will send you back to them. And today is the closing date. Mind you, these people are contractors, these bankers, they are on contract. As we live here, we intend to go to the government house and to lay our complaint so that His Excellency El-Rufai should help us.
The aggrieved workers blamed the situation on some of the officials involved in the exercise.
Some people, they use temporary voters card to give them their check. But in turn of some people, they will refuse to give them the check.
Now there are some people who are sick. We brought them, they are right there in the they are right there at the center in the cars. They cannot even go out of their cars. We try to get to the bank. How will those people be verified? they said they have nothing to do with them again.
Government officials have not commented on the development, but the state government is insisting on verification of its workers as part of steps to cut the costs of governance.
This is still CoreTV News on the hour. Take another break. I'll be back on my stories. Please don't go away.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
And outside Nigeria, the South African ambassador to Nigeria, Lulu Nguni, has said there was no information on the reported release of $15 million armed funds that was confiscated from the federal government in 2014. There had been reports that the money had been released to Nigeria, but the envoy stated he had yet to get any brief on the issue from his government. The ambassador promised to find out the status of the subject from Pretoria, but when he further explained that he had yet to give a feedback from the authorities in South Africa. Nguni declined further talks on the issue. Greece is taking a crucial step towards a bailout after its parliament passed a second set of reforms. The passage of the measures meant that the negotiations on an €86 billion European Union bailout can begin. The reforms include changes to Greek banking and an overhaul of the judiciary system. Thousands demonstrated outside of Parliament as the bill was debated, but protests briefly turning violent as the patrolmen were thrown at police. There had been fears of a rebellion by MPs, but Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras was easily able to muster the support required. In total, the measures received 230 votes in favor and against and 63 against with 5 abstentions. Among those who voted against were 31 members of his own Syriza party. However, this represents a smaller rebellion than in last week's initial votes. Well, that's it to wrap on CoreTV News on the Harm, and thanks for watching. I am Elijah Mokelman. Good afternoon.